Hello, Bill Molyneaux here for Bill's Wargame World, and we are going to do the Battle of Wyse Fork game, the second Battle of Kinston. Goober the Traveling Bear is helping me, and of course the money for this video that you're watching um, will be contributed to the Gettysburg Foundation. So the Wyse Fork game, one of the largest battles in North Carolina, March 7th through the 10th. We have a slight error on that 9. It'll be changed to a 10. This is one of the prototype games. And on the back, we have our credits, a little picture of our map, some history, the CSS Noose. And the CSS Noose is a reproduction ironclad, but the actual CSS Noose, the only Confederate ironclad above water, is in an incredible museum in Kinston, and I've been to Kinston twice to help promote their two battlefields. The first Battle of Kinston, the second Battle of Kinston, otherwise known as Wyse Fork, and their reproduction ironclad and their wonderful museum. And I have to say, everyone there, all the historians, everybody just treated me and Goober and my friends, Josh and Walt and Kevin, Colonel Handsome, just an incredible town and people. If you get the opportunity, visit Kinston. A ton of American Civil War history there, and also a really cool mansion. All right, let's get this box open. Now, I did the unboxing. And we have our counters. There's our CSS Noose. And I'm going to stop the camera and set up the game. All right, everyone. Well, we pretty much have the whole map in our... There we go. That's pretty darn close. Now, I don't have my plexiglass that I usually put over games because I took it to the Virginia home and I was planning on doing this here, but we had to come back home, and I won't my wife wasn't feeling the best, so we had to come back. So we're making this video in Baltimore, and I gotta say, Blue Panther Printing, who printed this for me and did an awful lot of the the artwork with Trevor Jones and Steve Jones. I gotta say thank you to everyone that helped with this game. We have our turn track marker. Now our Confederates are in a butternut, and I'm going to pause the camera here and we're going to set up our Confederates. Okay, everyone, I just thought I would show you that I have our victory markers placed. The CSS Noose I placed here. Our Confederate cavalry is here. Now we have 3 Confederate artillery units, one here, here, and here, covering these bridges. So we have our Confederate artillery set up, and now we're going to be placing our infantry and our officers. And I'll pause the camera here. Well, welcome back. I'm going to expand this a bit. We're going to start at the top of our map. We have D.H. Hill's units here. And then we have our North Carolina troops. General Braxton Bragg I placed here with the North Carolina reserves. And then we have an artillery with an infantry unit covering the bridge. And we have our Confederates all set up. So that's how the game is set up. And I intentionally left it up to you players to determine where to put your units. So Hoke's units are within 6 inches of this, or 6 hexes of this mill, which is right here. And then we have D.H. Hill, which is within the entrenchments up here. So we are prepared. And we have the CSS Noose here, and we are now prepared for to set up our Union troops. And now they come in piecemeal as we start the game. I'll get that ready next. Alright, you'll see over here I have our Union troops that will be coming in. And I intentionally made this game where it's a random die roll of what road the Union will arrive on. This game will always have a different setup for the Union because there's multiple roads that can come in on. And we'll point out our Union cavalry start here on turn 1. They come in on that road. They're started right there. And then we have, we'll put our, you can't see it, but we have our Union troops there, which is Rugg, and then we have General Cox along with our African American spy counter, and there is only one African American spy counter. We have everything ready to go. So we have our entrenchments, by the way. The Union have entrenchments. I've set them up here so our Union troops can dig in if need be, because in the beginning the Confederates do have a substantial force. And then General Braxton Bragg, there's a chance he could be helpful in combat and defense, and other times he could be an issue. Alright, so our turn sequence, and playability wise, I did an unboxing. We do have our trusty terrain chart and our combat chart. So if you hadn't seen the unboxing video, we're using an odds ratio chart with a few modifiers from the terrain chart. And our little pamphlet book, which an experienced wargamer will be able to learn this in a half an hour. There is a couple specialties. The spy counter and the North Carolina Reserve unit are both interesting, and all these units have a reduced value printed in red on the back of their counters. So we're going to go ahead and start with turn 1 with our Union troops. I got to flip to the back page, and we're going to determine where they are. I roll a 4, and a 4 is they enter on road B. So our Confederates, now if they're going to enter on road B, which is right here. Now I like to say that Mr. Wade, Dennis, Skip, Matthew Young, Rachel, Keith, Hayes, everyone down there, and Mr. Mike Parker of the CSS News 2, they gave us wonderful tours of the museums, the ironclad, and the battlefield. And I can't say how very, very just incredible how they treated Goober the Traveling Bear and I. So I want to get that out of the way once again. I'm going to go ahead and move our Union troops. Alright, I moved my Union troops up here. I'm going to hit this point here. This is what's neat about how I developed this game as a designer's point of view, is some of the battle actually took place over here, and I've decided to push this way and try to crack that. My Union cavalry are sitting here. Well, we got to resolve this. I have the spies, General Cox, so that's 2 shifts, and we have 24 combat values. And over here we have 5 in entrenchments with General D.H. Hill. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and figure out so General Hill gives a +1 shift. General Cox gives a +1 shift. And then the spies. So they help on the defense. So our officers have really, so we have a +5 here. So we're in entrenchments. Well, we have a 2-to-1 ratio. The chart at 2-to-1 cannot eliminate my Union troops. We're going to roll our die, and we rolled a 4. So the defender retreats 1 hex. All right, I'm going to move them to there. Now, I don't want to go plowing across at the moment. And I apologize, I have a seam there and I have no plexiglass in this house. So, but we did drive them back. I'm going to wait for more reinforcements before I go across. All right, we're going to pause the camera here. Wow. We have this persnickety Union cavalry over here on the flank. We're going to see about sending our Confederate cavalry. So it's half movement. 1, 2, 3. We got to stop there, and I can prorate, and I actually can the Cobb House. Now, buildings are a +2 on defense. So that Confederate cavalry unit is now worth 8 points rather than 6. And in this game system, I didn't go with double or triple defense such as an old SPI or Avalon Hill game. I did column shifts for leaders and then point values added to the whole stack, not per counter. So that makes us an 8. So that I really need to see if I can bring in some help. We have an artillery piece. I could lob a shell in there for 2, and that gives me to 6. And we're going to send and I can't get across the stream, so we're going to send in a 9 and 4, 13, and artillery for 2. Man, I'm still not quite at 2-to-1. I'm going to pause the camera as I think about this attack. All right, we're going to try to get rid of this cavalry unit. Now, what's interesting is the cavalry have the ability to retreat and not have to engage in combat. However, Kim Metis, helper, designer, and developer, helped with several of the rules of this game to give it a little bit more complexity than a regular build game. And so guess what? Those, because we have artillery, infantry, cavalry attacking that Union piece, pause here, I'm going to find the page. All right, here's a great example of what's going on. Cavalry may not retreat if attacked by another cavalry unit or artillery unit making long-range attack. Enemy units may not advance into the hex the cavalry retreats from if an attack was made involving combined arms attack by enemy infantry, cavalry, and artillery that are adjacent. The cavalry may not retreat. So the cavalry normally could say, I'm out of here, but because we have multiple forces attacking it and a Confederate cavalry unit, it is stuck at 2-to-1 odds, and we rolled a 6, which is 2 losses This cavalry unit, unfortunately, has no other units with it, so it is eliminated. And we're going to move artillery and infantry there. So that's a good example of how I should not have sent that cavalry unit. He should have been out here. All right. So for turn 2, we're moving on. Okay, everyone. Now, this is probably a huge build mistake. I should have brought my cavalry over here. But this is the first time I've played the actual game. I did play test it a zillion times. And our cavalry unit, actually, many times I brought it over here. And I made the Union push more in this direction. Today I'm going this way. I'm going to go ahead and move our turn to track 2, which I've done. Union move first. And you know what? We're going to I really don't want to go across that creek and the entrenchments quite yet. But we will do this. We'll go to here, and we're not going to entrench there. We've moved. These 4 plus 5 is 9, and I got a 2-to-1 attack with a column shift here. So we're going to go ahead and risk that. If I can get a 6, that will knock him right out, but we roll the 2, which is an attack or retreat. All right, so for turn 2, that's what we did with our Union troops. Turn 3, we'll have reinforcements. I'm going to reposition my Confederates. We will bring this unit. We're going to stay there. Now, I know for a fact a ton of Union troops could show up here. They would get moved over to there. We're going to go back on the defensive, get back behind our entrenchments. The cross here, you have to be adjacent to get across, which I am, so they can go back across without a bridge. Also, just for the heck of it, my cavalry unit would go there and move back. He's going to cover the bridge on that flank. And I'm sorry. So we have our Confederate cavalry. We have our line. Yes, we are weak up here, but it's slow going through the woods. Going through the woods, it's 2 extra movement points for artillery. So we're going to go on to, we're not doing any Confederate attacks. The CSS Noose has its steam up, and at the rate of this video, I'm going to go to turn 3. We get our next batch of Union reinforcements, and we're going to roll to find out where they appear. So, we'll pause our camera here. Okay, we're on turn 3. This video is going to be over an hour, hour and a half long or longer if I don't pause it more. So my Union troops are here. My Union plan is going to be to hit here, I think. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to come back up here again, and we're going to try that attack again. We're also going to bring up the artillery piece for 2 more points, and we're going to spread our Union troops along the line, and we'll be getting ready for because we're going to put our attack up that side. Now we have to be prepared because there's some General Braxton Bragg who give General Hook the order to attack everything, which happens around turn 8. And I probably should mention the North Carolina reserves, which are right here. And so this little counter has a star. This is a unit that is made up of a lot of young boys, and you have to roll a morale check for them whenever they're adjacent or going into combat, for them not to run away. As Mr. Wade, our tour guide, said, it was the first time for them to see the elephant. All right, I'm going to pause the camera, but we got to resolve a combat up here. It is still the same at 2-to-1 odds, but 9, 10, 24, and 28 with artillery, a column shift, and we got a 6, and a 6 is 2 flips, 1, 2 on 3-to-1 column. We lost our first Confederate unit. So we'll put up our dead here. These count for victory points. Now, advance after combat. Now along this, we can advance across as long as there's no artillery. Artillery cannot cross without a bridge. So we have troops have broken through the entrenchments, and I have a video on Bill's History World with Goober the Traveling Bear, with Mr. Wade, and us walking these entrenchments, and they are incredible. So it's a big deal for us to break through them on turn 3. All right, we have a foothold of crossing and flanking to get to Kinston way over here. We want to get that rail hub. I'm going to go ahead and move our Confederates. All right, for turn 3, I have no attacks. And the victory conditions, also we don't want the noose to get captured. So I'm trying to play conservatively with the Confederates, just because I don't have a lot of counters to defend this long line. So I've moved Confederates up to here, and we're going to turn 4. So the Union are moving turn 4. There's no reinforcements. And as a Confederate player, you have to watch out where the African American spy counter is, because any Confederate attack on a hex with that spy counter is an additional shift, a negative shift for your attacks. So our Union are moving, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going right after D.H. Hill. And I could have folded this map to get rid of this seam, but I was in a hurry to get the game going. I apologize for that. So we know they're going after Hill. This is, the infantry can cross, the artillery cannot. We're going to move 1. We're going to unstack that. We're going to put this gun battery together. And we'll put infantry at that bridge and at that bridge. Okay. And we're going to leave him to cover this flank. So that's where we are. We're going to go ahead and resolve our big attack there. We'll pause our camera. Our attack here is a 3-to-1 with a column shift, making it 4-to-1. with a 1, which is no effect. How in the heck can that happen? I have a wonderful 4 to 1. No serious effect on the attacker or defender. They remain as is. So that is horrible. I'm just amazed that I could not. And let me tell you, when you buy my game, fold your map seams in if you don't have plexiglass. I'm feel very foolish that I didn't do that, because I have this little ridge going right there. But life is short. If that's the worst thing that happened in my world with all that goes on, I can deal with that. So for turn 4 for our Confederates, they have to either attack or fall back. Well, there's no way I have enough oomph, but I'm going to bring him up, and I'm now sort of defended my line, but I can see where Union troops could cross here and attack the artillery on the flank. I need to shift forces, and we're going to go ahead, and once the last group of the Union troops show up on the table, the Confederate player can then figure out how he wants to defend the area. Okay, everyone. Now we're on turn 4. I'm doing the best I can. I'm shifting here because you're playing Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when you're playing a solo game. I made the plan for the Union when I started this game that I would try to come north here and attack this way. So, and actually it's almost due north. And if you're wondering, I have a compass on this map, and Dennis, one of our tour guides, said make sure you put a compass on your map. I don't even remember if he remembers telling me that when he gave us our wonderful tour. All right, so turn 4, we really have no battle, but we have this 4 point, which becomes a 2, and it will have no effect on that unit for long-range artillery fire. So let's move on to turn 5. Pause the camera here. All right, everyone, we're on turn 5. The Union have arrived here, and they're going to go and take the Cobb House with a 16-point unit and a 10, and there's no way the Confederates will push them out of the Cobb House. And they get their points there, and we're going to put our artillery. So we'll put our victory marker underneath. And my plan here will be to sit and wait for now, because the main Union attack is out here. And once again, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to hit this unit, and I guess it's time to come across and make massive attacks along the line. And we are going to bring this up. Now, I didn't pre-check these odds, and I know many wargamers would do all the mathematical calculations. We're on turn 5. We're trying to get to Kinston. So let's see what happens. We got to break through. So we have a 4 with an entrenchment value of 4. He's worth 8. We have a total of 8. We're going to go ahead and roll that. Everyone needs to be attacked, but you can pick whatever you want. And at 1-to-1 odds, with a 1, it's retreat, flip, lost 1 unit. And I forgot, I have not been checking for leaders to see if they die. Also the African American spies. So Our next attack is here. At 22-7. That's a 3-1. No leader though. With a 4. He gets flipped and retreats, and we're going to advance. And then 3 and 4 is 7. And our woods value adds 2, brings it to a 9. This might not be, this is a 1-2 attack, but with my leader makes it a 1-1. And we roll the 6. So a 6 at 1-1 is defender, retreat, and a flip. And artillery uses all its movement to go through the woods. And up here, 5, 6, 7, 10, 4. That's a 4-1 with a 6. Defender eliminated. We lost D.H. Hill. Yeah, and we rolled. So our Union attacks in the north are proving very successful once I got through that first entrenchment. But they have not gotten to the CSS Deuce, which has a range of 4, and they have not gotten to our real big victory hex, which is out here. All right, let's have our Confederates try to get out of this mess. And I do have some issues with our, we got a white. By the way, turn 4 was a night turn. Kim, you can yell at me, but I had combat in the night turn, and we don't have combat in the night turn. All right, you know, you don't know it, but I've been doing some chores for my wife in between of playing this, and I made a mistake, everyone. We're just going to continue on, and in this Wyse Fork playthrough, we fought through the 4th turn 4 night turn. Confederates are going to, well, that's going to be a terrible odds attack. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will get my odds up. We're going to send in General Bragg. We are pulling, I can't do that. And we are really weak in the flank. So I'm going to resolve our Confederate attacks here. And with some good die rolls, we might do all right. We have a general, a spy, 24, 28, 9. We're still not even, we're at a 1-2 on that. And with a 6, nothing happens. So they attacked. This attacks here, which is 3 and 5, and that's a 1-2, becomes a 1-3. Oh, nothing happens. Our Confederate attacks are stalling out. Oh, I didn't check to see if Bragg is going to be a good officer. He was a good officer for that. He did get the column shift, and it still didn't help. All right, we have a +2 shift with Hoke. Thinking of Rourke's Drift, and so this is the North Carolina Reserves. I have to see what happens. All right, the North Carolina Reserves failed to go in. Very frustrating. All right, the North Carolina Reserves did not go in. I got to redo those odds. And this isn't good. A 3 attacker retreats. All right, so at the end of turn 5, our Confederates are where we're at. I'm sorry again for messing up on turn 4. And no excuse for it, but I was helping the wife bring laundry downstairs to the basement. This is Real Wargaming in Bill's Basement with Goober the Traveling Bear. We're going to our Union turn 6, and we are going to pause the camera. Okay, everyone, I have moved. I have my attack here, attack here. We're pushing hard here, and I had to fall back and stuff. The odds were too poor for attacks there. Our first attack on the bridge, we have a value of 4 of a Confederate cavalry unit. We're going to roll to see if they retreat, and they do. So they're going to just fall back. So that's where we're at. Our artillery cannot advance. The infantry takes that ground. Here we have 7 and 5 for the entrenchments, the bridge, and check our chart. It's 3-1 with a 4. They take 1 flip and retreat. So we're going out here and we're gonna flip our artillery battery and we retreat. And unfortunately, we also have to check and see if General Carr has perished. We've lost 1 officer. Oh! We did lose our Union officer. Now, during the night turns, you can rally and bring units back, and flip them from half strength to full strength, and even bring back a unit. But because I messed up on the last thing, so we have rough ground hill. This is a bombardment of 2 points, and then 14, 3-1 with a column shift, brings it all the way to 5. Defender eliminated. Our Confederates are... So once you lose an entrenchment and you start getting flanked, it's an issue. Now let's see what happens up here. 14. Now it's 1-1 with a column shift. If Bragg, and I did not roll good for Bragg, he is not helping in this battle. He is lost track of whatever. So let's do our odds, and we have an attack or retreat. So they have to go out here. All right, we're going to Confederates. We're going to fall back for turn 6. Our Confederates are here. We are going to build a new line. We have the noose here. 1, 2. We can get 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And where are those reserves? The North Carolina reserves are right here. And we have reinforced our line. Now, there was a time General Bragg, turn 8, 9, 8, where he gives orders for everyone to just rise up and charge. We're not going to use that in today's game. So the Bragg and optional rules. By the way, I am using the optional Braxton Bragg being a bad officer. And Bragg orders Hoke to attack. General Hoke had orders from Bragg to attack the Federal defensive positions at all costs from 5, 6, and 7. So that's an optional. I'm not going to do that because in some areas I think it would be suicidal. And we got that in for people that want to have that option. But The Confederates are just trying to keep as many victory points as possible, including the noose. And the noose, it can fire over things because it's elevated. It has a range of 4. So it's got a range out to here. And it's got its steam up. Let's go to turn 7. We'll pause our camera. Okay, everyone. We have a problem on this flank. This 4 strength isn't going to be able to hold. We are all right, here we go. Turn 7. Our Union troops are going to... We're really close for a Union victory. We had some good rolls up here, but we're not entrenching. We're going to push forward. So we're pushing forward on this flank, and we're going to come here and try to hit him. We're going to get our artillery across the river, and we'll sit here to and this overextended unit, we're going to put him there with our African American spies. So that's where we're at now. And of course, this game will play differently when how the Union troops arrive every time you play it, and which road they arrive on, and also how aggressive and optional rules you're using. I'm going to resolve these combats. That's a regular 4, 14. No officer, that's a 3-1. And we roll the 1, it's an attack or retreat. So our Confederate cavalry, I have to say that unit's really done well. This is an incredibly bad attack here. 26-3. I mean, that's over 6-1. And odds over 6-1 are treated as 6-1. And believe it or not, that little 3-factor, and this is the 68th North Carolina, and they put up a heck of a battle. They only lost 1 point, and they had to retreat. But man, they were outnumbered 7-1. Our Confederates turn, and we are going to tighten up our line. Our North Carolina reserves are here. And I've fallen back too much. So Braxton Bragg is a interesting leader. We're going to leave this unit out here. I'm being hit too much on both sides, but it's just a board game. Confederates are done. We have this unit to there. So we're at turn 8. We're at turn 8, everyone. Gonna hit there. And there is no way this Confederate cavalry unit can retreat now. Also, it's being attacked by so it has no retreat roll. And we want to get to that noose. Believe it or not, this is a victory point game, so depending on how the Union can lose, even though they look like they're winning, because we have to count up the points at the end. And turn 10 is a night turn. We'll try to remember not to do combat and resurrect dead units. Alright, I got a lot of battles. I'm going to just resolve them and come back to you. Okay, over here, our Confederate cavalry took a loss and a retreat, so I flipped it to the half strength, but it can't retreat, so it takes another loss, so it's now eliminated. Alright, we lost a unit here. Now our Union attack here actually caused a loss. They lost an artillery unit and they had a retreat, so the attacks here failed. Up in here, they have fallen back, and that's where we are, and we're going to our Confederate movement phase. And as you can see, the attack from the north and the attack from the south has really pushed our Confederates in a tough spot here. Now what we need to have is the CSS News is going to open fire. General Bragg is a terrible leader. We're going to send in this 13 is going in with an 11 with Hook. We're not going to risk Bragg. We will send Bragg this way. We'll send an artillery piece, and then we'll send these two units out here. And the CSS News is, we got to get some casualty points on these. We have to get some units gone. So African American spies, it drops our rating. Our column shift 10, 15. Well, with the Deuce, and the Deuce is firing its 6.4 Brook guns. We actually got a 3-to-1, and if we can roll a 3, or I mean a 5. Well, we rolled a 5. I wanted to get a 6, but a 5 was 2 flips and a retreat. Oh, so we actually. And we have to see what happens to our spies. And the spies have left. Alright. Now, Hook, really with his +2 column shift, made a huge difference in that. General Braxton Bragg. Well, this is a 1-to-1 unless Bragg rolls bad. No effect with Bragg. He is +1, so we're at 2-to-1 with no effect. Alright, let's go on to turn 9. Confederates had a good turn there. Union, turn 9. And here we go. We're going to break through to Kinston. All along the line. Now, I can't use road movement and then go into combat. I can use it up to a point and then drop off, but so these units here can't close in. We're going to attack all across the line, and so everyone's going in. All my Union troops are going for. Now, if I roll bad, of course, this isn't going to be good. But this is a 16-to-1 odds. There's no way it's 6-to-1. The only way I can fail is to roll. The only way I can fail on a 6-to-1, I can't. So, right off the bat, the 68th North Carolina is finally gone. And then we have a 3-to-1 attack there. And that's a 1. So our Union unit there falls back. North Carolina reserves. Oh my goodness. Please roll good. Okay. The boys from North Carolina, the young men here have stood their ground. They're worth 8 points against 18. And we're at 2-to-1, and we rolled a 2 for the Union. So, the North Carolina reserves, the young men who failed the 1 morale check, held, and then with the Lucky die roll, they held off this Union attack. Now, I did not count up these odds, and I'm a little concerned that oh, that's a very strong stack there. Oh, I gotta pause the camera and add this. Alright, I probably made a huge mistake. I should have counted my numbers, because I'm going to do this attack. Do this attack first. I did my numbers. I'm at a terrible... We're at 2-1 on this one with a 6. And let's see if our leader died. Braxton Bragg is not dead, but they did take 2 losses. So they get 2 flips and retreat. So I had both units retreat. The Union troops arrive. Now this one, I messed up. Hoke is a +2 leader. He is a kick butt general for the Confederacy. And, man, I lost. So this attack here, I can't believe, because of the column shift on a roll of a 2, I lost an entire very strong 14 unit, and Cox is gone, and I really messed up. I should have counted my value points before I made those crazy charges. And our Confederates with the CSS Deuce, you know what? If I have to move him away. All right. Now we're getting ready for a night turn. I'm sending my Confederates in. The CS News can shoot over the heads of people. And that's only worth 8 factors. 10, 20, 24, 22, 25, and a column shift. We're at, with both leaders, we're at 5-1, and at 5-1, okay, I really am amazed how bad I did. Okay, people who are watching this video are going to say, Bill, you're a terrible wargamer. I was doing so well with the Union, and now I've just... So these 2 reduced strengths... Oh, we got to see if Hope died, by the way. And he's fine. Alright, General Braxton Bragg, we are using the optional rule, and he is fighting fine. He's not being... Oh, North Carolina reserves are going in. Oh, well, they did do really well before, but they failed to go in. 8 and 14. We are a 1-2 odds. Becomes 1-1. Attack or retreat. So, the North Carolina boys, we really needed them, but that's where we're at. And we go to a night turn. Alright, the Union have no leaders. The leaders are needed to resurrect and flip people back over. I'm moving there. And the road to Kinston. And then for our Confederates, we're going to see what Hoke can do. I'll pause the camera here. Alright, General Hoke resurrected the 87th North Carolina. And they are back. General Braxton Bragg. And this is for the night turn. Braxton Bragg doesn't get anyone back. And we are going to simply hunker down for the night turn. Okay. Now, we are moving on to turn 11, and of course on March 10th, we're on March 9th now, but on March 10th the Confederates decide to call it a day and retreat, and of course we're going to be ending the war at Bentonville. So our Union Army is shattered at this point. I had no leaders to bring anything back, which was frustrating also. But we have a lot of victory points. But if I go out there and lose more Union troops, I am worried I will the Confederate Army is not without teeth still. But we're going to hit this unit here, which is a 3. And I got it at 6-to-1 odds with no modifiers. And of course, it's already, that was the unit that was rallied, which I could have put back here. And our Union troops are not going to advance. All right, let's have our Confederates. Now, my Confederate Army is really weakened. I have a very strong stack here, and I don't want to attack with them either. So we'll go to turn 12, and at turn 12, this is where wargamers have to make a decision. I don't want to do any more crazy Union attacks. This stack is too strong. It would not even barely be it wouldn't even be 1-to-1 to attack here. And if Braxton Bragg rolls good, and with the CSS Noose giving cover fire, even though we're going to say our Union Army is going to shift, I guess. And the Confederates, we just don't have enough power either, other than this heavy stack. All right. I'm going to go to turn 13. The Confederates are happy what they're doing. Turn 13, you know, I don't want to do anything else with my Union troops, but if I have one bad die roll, I'm really worried about the losses when I count these up. So, yeah, and I'm not counting them now. So the Union may have a victory with all the victory points, but the noose, the CSS Noose, is still functional. Turn 14. The Union really alright. I'm going to take this artillery battery and fire on there. And that gives they're being attacked by here. This unit's attacking here. And that allows me that. So here we go. 2 and 3 is 5. And I have 28. And this is going to be a negative odds, but odds won't affect the artillery. So nothing happens here. And I rolled a 1, which is they retreat and 1 flip. Now we all know if I move, if you're a wargamer, and I move in there, those guys will get slaughtered. Alright, so that was my big Union attempt with artillery occupying them. And now it's the Confederates' turn. And you know, Hoke, this is worth 28 points. There's 24. That's 1-1. And I don't need to put any more into it. I won't put any more into it. We'll put one in if we do get a step loss. The Confederates are going to attack him. We have General Hoke, who has been surviving battle after battle. This will make or break this game for one side or the other, probably, because of victory points. And we are at 2-1 with General Hoke. And we roll the 4. 3-1. Hoke's a +2 shift. They both are reduced. Retreat. And Hoke will not advance, and we have to see if he died. And Hoke is still alive. All right. We are on turn 15. Everyone, turn 15. Okay. And this is it. I don't know how many victory points there are out there between the dead, but the Union, Hoke has been a real pain in the butt with his +2 column shift. I really thought the Union had this game wrapped up. So I don't want to attack this massive stack. Bragg and his weird leadership is over here. We're going to do that. I dragged a Victory Parker with me. There we go. We're going to have artillery fire on Hoke, which is non-effective, but it does give the ability to have 21 points, 22 points into 7. That's a 3-1 attack. And with a 2, nothing happens. All right, so our artillery fired here. And nothing happened here. And then our attack here is... Oh, the North Carolina boys, they hold. So they're holding here at the riverbank of the Neuse River with 8 points to 14. It's 1-1. And with a 1, it's an attack or retreat and a flip. Well, the North Carolina boys, when they do fight, they do well. And over here, we have to check for Braxton Bragg. We have 10. 26 against 7. And Braxton Bragg. And Bragg is going to be a good leader. And we are at 2-1 with a 3 is nothing. And Braxton Bragg is still alive. All right. Well, this is it. The Confederates have to attack adjacent units. The CSS Neuse will pour its cannon shells somewhere. 4 and 3 is 7. We'll see if Braxton Bragg is going to be effective or a bad column shift, and he's a bad column shift this time. All right, everyone. This is the last turn of the game. 16. This is a really horrible odds. I'm not even going to bother using the Neuse. We'll roll that one off. And it's a 3. Attacker retreats. Braxton Bragg can't retreat. What a terrible loss. They couldn't retreat. So we lost our units. Bragg is gone. Nothing I could do about it. I had to attack. The North Carolina boys, they're good. 4, we're going to have the Neuse fire. 4, 5, 6, 12. And 7. We got that at 2-1 with the noose pouring its guns in. Matthew Young, the director of the CSS Noose Education Center. If you're watching this, this is a big die roll. We need a 4, 5, or a 6, and we rolled a 6, which is 2 flips and a retreat. That's a flip, that's a flip, and that's a retreat. And that was, and then here, 24 to 7, 3-1, goes up to 5-1 because of Hoke, and they are eliminated. All right, so, and we have to see if Hoke is dead. He survives once again, and let me tell you, his +2 column shift for his leadership ability. Now, I did not rally troops during the first night turn, so that could have caused some issues, of course, with my playthrough. I also made a couple mistakes here and there, and I think there was once or twice I may not have rolled for the reserves, if they can go into combat or not. Also, as a Union player, there was a point I thought I had this wrapped up. I'm going to pause the camera and add up our victory points. Hello, everyone. We're going to close out the Battle of Wyse Fork. It took me a little while to count up all the points between the hexes, and so guess what happened? We are at 28 for the Union, 36 for the Confederates. And then we look here, here's our points difference, and then our level of victory point level. So it is a Confederate minor victory. Okay, what a fun little game. I will say as the Union player, when I was playing on the Union side, I really had the plan of coming up here and then here. I was doing fantastic, and then I got crazy without checking my odds on a few things and rolling really bad on a couple crucial rolls. The CSS Noose, by the way, we have Union troops getting close, but the Noose is still afloat. It was worth 5 victory points for the Confederates. And this is the Battle of Wyse Fork. It's unlike anything I developed before with the help of a lot of people, and including Kim Metis, Steve Jones, Trevor Jones, Stephen McCall, by the way. Mr. McCall, he did the artwork on our box. So I'd like to say, I hope you'll consider buying the Wyse Fork game, and every month or two after I get my check from Blue Panther, I will be sending some money to them to save the Wyse Fork battlefield and to help out with the Noose Museum. So, Goober the Traveling Bear, who is the intern to the player's aid. Not really, I just like being goofy at times with Goober the Traveling Bear. We would like to say thank you for watching this video. And by watching this video, you're actually helping to contribute money to the Gettysburg Foundation this month. All my YouTube money this month is going to the Gettysburg Foundation. So, that's about it. Once again, thank you to everyone that helped make this game and help it get produced. And I couldn't have done it without a lot of help. Stay safe, everyone. Be kind. Be courteous. Please consider buying the Battle of Wyse Fork game. And there's a lot of play potential because you don't know where the Union attack is coming. And if you're playing against me, you're probably going to win no matter which side you play. Thank you. One last thing. This game took a little over 2 hours to play, but I had helped my wife with some issues in the laundry room. So I'm going to say an hour and a half, 2 hours roughly if you're undisturbed.